Welcome back, everyone, to another episode on the Project Nodenium server. Today we have 3 different projects that I want to work on. If we take a look at the project board, the next one up is the smelter and bamboo farm, and today feels like the right day to get that built. The second project that we're going to do is take care of this space laser, and I have the perfect idea for it. The last project that I want to work on is going to happen underneath this mountain, and what I discovered is that there is an ancient city down there, and I think it would be fun to go through the process of restoring it. But that's going to require making it so that wardens don't spawn, and that will be quite the challenge. Luckily, the other day I was talking with one of the members on the server who had an extra Swift Sneak enchanted book that he was willing to give to me, which means we can now sneak around really fast, and that's going to make exploring the ancient city much easier. But before we can get to the ancient city, let's get started with our first project, and that's getting a smelter set up. For the smelter, I think we are going to be putting it in this spot over here, so we're going to first need to dig out a little bit of an area that we're going to be able to work in. While digging out the room, I seem to have come across a cave spider spawner, so we're going to have to take care of that. Aha, there it is. Let's get some torches in here, and oh boy. All right, take care of this guy right here. I think we should be okay. I've finished digging out the room, and unfortunately, I did have to break the cave spider spawner because it was right here, and there was no way to keep it with the room that we're going to be putting it. I think what we are going to do for the room is have the super smelter go in right here. We're going to use this central area to have a chest where we put all of the items in to get smelted, and then another chest where all of the items that have been smelted can come out at. And eventually what we are going to also add is another room to have a bunch of bamboo growing in it so that we can use that as fuel for the smelter. But that's going to come at a later point. Today, we are going to just focus on getting the super smelter built up because I have plenty of fuel to get it running for what we need right now. But what I am limited on is the amount of cobblestone, and hopefully this will be enough to get all of the furnaces that we need. I think 32 should be a good start. I've gone ahead and built up the basic structure for the smelter. So we've got the furnaces over here, and then these blocks here and these blocks down here are where we are going to have the systems to load up the materials, and then down there is for loading up the fuel that'll power the furnaces. So now all we need to do is put in all of the hoppers and the redstone to be able to get this running. And we now have all of the hoppers added in, and I've added in the rails as well. And then I realized that I made this too small. It has now been expanded to the correct size, except that it wasn't. But after a little bit, I did get the correct size and all of the redstone added in on this side, and all of the redstone is now added in over here as well. The way that this system will work is that if we load up this chest with a bunch of coal and then turn on this, the hopper minecart will go underneath the chest and be filled up with the coal that is in here. And then you'll see it goes off, and we'll be going in and putting the coal in all of the furnaces, which for some reason, it's not going into that one. That's because this is not supposed to be a block, and that's now been fixed. And then if we put in a bunch of items like this raw copper over on this side, we can then turn these on, and they will get loaded up with the copper and then go off and fill up the furnaces, and the copper will be all smelted up. After the blocks get smelted up, they will end up here, and we'll see them start to fill in right like that, and it'll be pretty fast. So while that is getting all smelted up, I will get this room decorated, and then we'll move on to the next project. Got the room all decorated up, and now the smelter is hidden away. If we want to smelt items, we can put them up in this chest. We'll be able to turn this lever on, and that'll activate the minecart. And if we need to refuel it, we can just go right through here and go down and add more fuel to the smelter. All in all, this project has been a success. Now that we have the smelter all finished up, it's time for our second project, which is to do something about this base laser, which appeared on top of my base in the last episode. And I found out that it was placed by one of the members on the server, Jesper, and I'll include a link in the description down below to the video where he built it. But I have an idea of what I can do to return the favor for him. So what I'm going to need to do is get a schematic made of it so that I can take it down and rebuild it somewhere else. I've got it all taken down and the materials are in my inventory. We now need to head off and find Jesper's base so that way we can rebuild it there. I've found his base, and now it's just time to get this rebuilt. I think right here is going to be the perfect place to build it. There we are, we've got the finished product, and I think this turned out really well. What we have over here is some debris from the laser hitting the ground, and I think what we need to do now is just leave a little sign, and I think what it's going to say is, what goes up must come down. I think that works. Now we just got to get out of here before Jesper signs on. Now that we've finished up our second project, it's time for the third and final project that we are going to be working on today. Before we head down to the ancient city to start working on it, we need to get a few things together, including my backup armor set. I also need to make sure I have my netherite chest plate, and I think I need to make sure I have enough food, which is looking a little bit short, but I'm also going to put these golden apples in there because those are going to be useful to have just in case. And I think 2 stacks of golden carrots should do it for what we need. So now I think we are ready to head down into the ancient city. The best way to head down is going to be to start in one of these ravines, and let's see. I think this side is going to be better. Let's drop down here and see what we can find. So I dug down a little bit of ways and entered this cave, which I have actually been to before, as you can tell from this torch over here. And this is the cave system that I used to collect up the skulk sensors when I created the skulk farm. So we are in the general location that we want to be in, but now we need to find out if there's a way to get down to the ancient city from here. Let's try this side first and see if it'll lead us to the deep dark biome. I'm seeing some skulk blocks up here. Let's see. All right, this is promising. This is looking very familiar. This is actually where I got the skulk sensors from. All right, I don't know that this is going to be the right way for us to go. All right, we're headed down. Oh, and we found a bunch of skeletons. This is not what we wanted to find. Well, we seem to have found the ancient city, but we are getting attacked by zombies. So let's take care of this first before we head down there. Definitely don't want these guys setting off anything and triggering a warden. It looks all clear. We need to set up a little bit of a base here where we can set our spawn point before heading down into the city. I've set my spawn point. I have my extra gear. I have my extra armor. I've got some food ready, and I have some wool to be able to help make my way through the city. I think we're ready to head down. One way we could get down is just dropping down and using the elytra to land, but that might trigger some sensors. I think if we go down with the water, we could be okay. That might be the best way to go. Let's make our way down carefully and see what will happen. I think we sit right here. That will be where we want to go down at. Now starts the process of going through and removing all of the skulk shriekers, and I already see one over here. There are going to be a lot of them. This could take a while. Here's number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So on the 24th one, I triggered the warden, and now I'm hiding from him. I don't know where to go. I'm going to try to sneak away so that I'm not going to be close, and hopefully he won't kill me. So I've waited about a minute, and I think that should be enough for the warden to despawn. So we're going to head back and see if it's still there. This is where I triggered the warden, and you can see from all of the wool, I was concerned about setting these off, but it didn't work. It didn't help. They still went off, and the warden spawned in, but it looks like he's gone, so we are good to continue exploring. We are about halfway through the city and have collected 24 skulk shriekers. I think we will probably collect about another 25 at least. So this spot is a little precarious. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shriekers here, and I've got to figure out some way to be able to break them without triggering them. This could be a challenge. The first one didn't go so well. Triggered a warden right away. Let's see what happens with these ones. I think I should be okay. Yep, that one was okay. Okay, and done. Easy. I think that we've been able to get all of the shriekers, and this city is now safe to run through without setting off any wardens, which is pretty amazing. For the number of shriekers that we had, there are 47 that I was able to collect. 1 despawned, so in total there were 48. We are just about ready to start remaking this city, but before we do that, I want to go through and collect up all of the items that are in the chest and see what kind of loot we get. I went through and collected up all of the chests that were in the ancient city. In total there were 21, and I've arranged the items in the shulker boxes in order of how valuable they are. So over here we have the least valuable items, which has some okay things like coal, bones, books. Those are all going to be things that we can use. Over here, we have items that are all right. They just probably aren't things that I'll use a lot. Like regeneration, probably won't ever use that. Diamond horse armor, probably won't ever use that. We do have some enchanted books, but they would need to be combined to be actually useful. Next up, we have a bunch of records and some other items that are just hard to collect. So those are good. But again, probably things I won't use a lot. And here are the best items that I found, including both of the smithing templates for the ancient city. Having those are going to be really useful. But now it's time to start working on restoring the ancient city. And I think what we are going to do in working on this city is take it in sections. So today we are going to focus on the main avenue here, as well as the center of the city. Looking at this main avenue, there are some features here that I like and probably will keep, like these arches that go over. But there are some other details that we probably won't keep, like the candles, which seem more like for ruins and less like a completed city. In this section out here, we do have these squares, and that looks like something that there would be a pool of water. So that might be a feature that we keep and expand on this idea a little bit more. Having these pillars on the outside is a nice feature, but there are some things that we could do with this design that might take them to the next level. Moving into the center of the city, I like the idea of having these pillars along the outside, but we've only got a couple of them, so there's probably more that we could do. And I definitely think there are some details that we can add to the center structure. Now that we have an idea of what we're going to do, let's get started with this restoration process. I finished up with the building, and I've got to say, this project has been a lot of fun to work on. When coming up with the new designs, I tried to keep it as close to the original as possible. So we have these archways, which is very much the same type of archway here. It's only a block taller and some differences on the side. And if we compare these pillars on the outside, you can see they're very similar to what the original design was, but we did create this opening for the flames and then added these sculpt veins around the outside. The one area where I made quite a bit of changes is with this central part of the city. And you can see here with this structure, there is a lot of added detail, and the outer walls are very much different from what was here before. Probably the only thing that I kept were the crenellations at the top. Working down here in the deep dark may be my new favorite place to work because you don't have to worry about any mobs spawning in once you remove all of the shriekers, and you don't have to worry about phantoms spawning in either because you're down in a cave. The process of restoring this city is going to take a little bit of time and something that we work on throughout the season. So as we work on the city up above, we will also be working on this city down below. But I think that's where we are going to leave it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you here. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see ya later.